Hello once again. I have more messages for us all as kind of a spin-off from the last few daily messages, which pretty much have been the same thing, and it's all because of the Saturn energy that we are all working with right now, as well as Black Moon Lilith, which brings up our shadow and our fears. I have had some big realizations just in the last hour, and I wanted to share my realization as it pertains to Saturn. First of all, I know I mentioned Saturn does reflect and represents the authority, the blockages, the restrictions, but also leadership and time. It's ruled by Capricorn. And so we have internal Saturn and we have external Saturn. And I know with all of the Saturn energy right now, there is a lot of frustration and delays that we are all working through. Yet Saturn in Pisces is all about our faith. Pisces, our faith and our trust, and the dissolving of the old. And what I recognized as I was walking, I ended up not being able to paddleboard today because the office was closed and I needed to get my board registered before I put it on the water, and they were closed today. And so I decided to walk around to the other side of the lake and take a hike where I usually hike here. And you can't see it now because it's around the bend, it's on the other side, but it is quite windy here and there are tons of sailboats out. And whenever I see sailboats on the lake, I know that's not a good day for me to paddleboard. It's difficult to paddleboard in the wind and the choppy waters. So I'm actually kind of grateful that I didn't push that Saturn control. I didn't push that boundary. I understood that there was a reason for it. And so I took a hike up here. As I'm hiking, I had another bigger realization of the internal Saturn within me, which is my own restrictions, my own rules that I place on myself, my own internal so-called disciplinarian. I say so-called because we have two. Many of you, especially those of you who grew up in the generation that I did or previous. So I grew up in the 70s. I was born in 71, grew up in the 70s, 80s. But even prior to that, most of us have been programmed and conditioned very heavily to have certain ways of operating within our discipline, the things that we're supposed to do, the things that we should do. And even if you don't fully operate that way, we still have some lingering programs that are still deeply embedded in the mind. And Mercury, being in square to Saturn, is being challenged. Our mind is being challenged by our inner disciplinarian, our inner, sometimes you could call it tyrant, micromanager, internal disciplinarian. And it's showing us, what we might want to let go of and release, Pisces, where we may not be having full faith and trust in the universe, in spirit, and where we try to control things a little bit too much. Our internal programming has taught us that we must always take charge and control. Yet I know from experience, and I also know the way that the energy is going to diffuse towards Friday, Saturday, many of you will find that your fears or your mistrust in the process, mistrust in what's going on right now, was all an illusion, Pisces, because things end up working out better than you imagined, working out in your favor, understanding that also there's duality in all signs, but Saturn in all planets. Saturn is actually, from my perspective, protecting me. I'm also being kind of on an up level maturity wise to trust the process, have faith in what is happening around me, because it is reflecting what is happening within me, and we're being tested. So this is this whole week is Saturn tests, left and right. Saturn tests with our values, Saturn tests with our actions and our words and our thinking and our communication, with our drive, with our will, and more, and how we act and respond towards deep-seated fears of what if something happens that we are not able to control. So I wanted to plant that seed, because the messages that have been coming through to me all week long were surrender, release the need to control, trust, have faith. Also, the loneliness card had been coming up as well. I think that many who are still operating in the old program are battling between the duality within themselves, and it is creating a lot of friction. This friction is needed. We need this friction to generate change in our lives. But many people do fall into depression, anxiety. Pisces can even be some form of psychosis. So it's really important to slow down and keep in check. Again, the disciplinarian in me is now operating on a higher level and is paying attention to the thoughts, any computer generated programs that arise, that I may have had knee-jerk reactions or just did things, being very mindful, being very present with every moment of each day, to have that dance and that interaction with life and what life is bringing to us right now. So I wanted to share that. I think that there was more, but it's not coming up for me right now. So I just wanted to share that with you, and sending you all so much love. Take care. Bye.